Sometime soon, Elon Musk is going to become the world's first trillionaire. That's trillionaire with a tra. How does this happen? How does one person amass all that wealth? And what's the consequences when they do? What are the consequences for the rest of us when all of that wealth is pulled out of the market and put in the coffers of single individuals? And that's why today we see an ongoing debate as to whether or not billionaires should exist. And that's just billionaires. We haven't even touched trillionaires yet. And where you stand on that debate has a lot to do with your understanding of the labor theory of value. That's why the labor theory of value is, I believe, an important theory to understand in participating in these political arguments, like whether or not billionaires should exist. So from the point of view of Musk and the billionaires and the millionaires and the ownership class, well, yeah, of course they should be allowed to exist. They are incentivized by becoming wealthy. And look, if we want to get the goods and services that we want in a modern society at the scale that we need them, yeah, somebody's going to have to invest in that. There's a lot of money and a lot of risk going into setting up the systems that are there to produce, organize, and market these goods and services. So if we take a look at the problems that were highlighted earlier in this series, the bad artist problem, the secretary's problem, and the LeBron problem, what were they? They were problems associated with production, organization, and marketing. So from their point of view, yes, this is a good system. We need to incentivize people who are skilled at creating these systems. And let's face it, no matter how we view Elon Musk, he is a master at creating these systems of production. So let's incentivize him to do so. On the other hand, well, Elon Musk himself has never actually built a Tesla, right? If the world were waiting for him to produce Teslas by hand out of his garage, one, it's probably likely to never happen. And two, even if it did happen, so few people would end up benefiting from the Teslas that it would hardly be worth it. If Musk has a skill, it is in hiring the right workers who can make his systems run. And that's no small accomplishment. But the bottom line is that it's the workers who actually do the production, who actually make the systems function, and actually get the services and goods out to the people who want them. Let's put it another way. Let's say an alien came and just lifted Elon Musk to the mothership. Would anybody even notice, other than his Twitter followers? No, not really, not for a long time. Because Tesla would still be putting out Teslas, and rockets would still be produced, and satellites would still be working. Really, what's he for at this point? But let's say the mothership came and took all of the Tesla employees. Would anybody notice? Yeah, really quick. Because the production of the Teslas and the maintenance of the Teslas would stop. So there's a claim that the workers should get the lion's share. So when we take a look at the labor theory of value, what we have is a framework for understanding the intrinsic conflict between the ownership class and the working class. And again, I want to reiterate, this is an intrinsic conflict with capitalism. You cannot solve this conflict and still have capitalism. So one way or the other, if you want to still have capitalism, or if we're going to have capitalism, this problem cannot be solved. It therefore must be negotiated. It therefore must be compromised. And what is compromise? Well, compromise ultimately leads to a satisfactorily mutually acceptable level of dissatisfaction. The owners may not be able to get everything that they want. The workers may not be able to get everything that they want, but they're all competing for the same chunk of wealth, that same surplus value that is produced through these systems. And they can't get all of it. Nobody can get all of it. The owners can't get all of it. The workers can't get all of it. This is where the labor theory of value transforms from being just your average, everyday, boring economic theory into a theory with serious political consequences. Most people don't know the labor theory of value. That's the point of this series. But the labor theory of value has a lot to say about where we stand politically. It is a valuable tool for understanding where we stand politically and where others stand politically. Those we don't agree with stand politically. Because this is a conflict over the same chunk of value, the same chunk of money or wealth, with those on the political left making a claim that the workers deserve the lion's share of that wealth, and those on the right making the claim that the owners deserve a share of that wealth. And where we align politically can be informed by an understanding of this labor theory of value. So that's what this series is going to be about from here on. We're going to be looking at the different major political ideologies in this country and where they align with the labor theory of value. And through that, we can get a greater idea of where we stand politically, but also a greater understanding of where the people we disagree with stand. And maybe we might just be able to come up with that compromise. Or maybe we can get together for the transformative change that we clearly need. So the next couple videos are going to start at the middle of the spectrum. We're going to start next video with liberalism, and then we will move on to mainstream conservatism, and then from there we'll start dealing with the more contentious ideologies on either side of the political spectrum as we go through this series. So let's get going.